Khidr, Hızır Aleyhisselam, the green guide beyond time. In the vast ocean of Islamic spirituality, few figures shimmer with as much mystery as Khidr Aleyhisselam. His name means the green one, hinting at life, renewal, and an eternal freshness untouched by the decay of years. He appears in stories like a traveler who steps out of nowhere, speaks a word that changes everything, and then vanishes again as if he simply walked into another dimension. His appearance in the Qur'an is brief, a small part of Surah Al Kahf, chapter 18. Yet it is so profound that scholars, saints, and poets have spent centuries trying to understand it. The Qur'an never names him directly, but tradition identifies him as Khidr, a servant of God who possesses ladunni, knowledge granted directly by God, without intermediary. Before we speak of his meeting with the Prophet Musa, Moses, one of the most mysterious encounters in Scripture, we must first understand who Khidr is, what he represents, and why his presence has become a symbol for higher knowledge, hidden guidance, and a perception of time far beyond the human norm. At the end of this journey, I will tell you the full story of Musa and Khidr, exactly as it appears in the Qur'an, with all its hidden meanings laid bare. Khidr in the Qur'an. The Quranic reference to Khidr occurs in Surah Al Kahf, verses 60 to 82. God describes him as one of our servants, to whom we had granted mercy from us, and had taught knowledge from our own presence. Qur'an 1865. This is the only direct reference in the Qur'an, yet the description is packed with meaning. The mercy here is understood as divine favor and protection, while knowledge from our own presence refers to a category of understanding beyond the grasp of normal study, a direct unveiling of reality. Khidr is shown to act in ways that appear illogical or even wrong to the observer, but which in truth are guided by divine wisdom. His story with Musa demonstrates this, but also hints at something more. An ability to perceive the fabric of time in a way that collapses past, present, and future into one unified field of knowing. The name Khidr means the green one, and Islamic tradition tells us that wherever he steps, greenery springs forth. This is more than a poetic image. It is a symbol of life that never dies, renewal that never ends. Many scholars believe Khidr drank from the water of life, granting him an extended life until the day of judgment. This belief explains why, across centuries, people in different lands have claimed to meet him. In Sufi tradition, Khidr is not bound to a single role like other prophets or saints. He is a guide without a fixed territory, a teacher to those who have no access to any other teacher, a rescuer for those who have no other hope. Sometimes he appears in human form, sometimes in dreams, and sometimes only as a voice in the heart. One of the most intriguing aspects of Khidr's story is the way it hints at non-linear time. In the Quranic episode, Khidr acts with certainty about events that have not yet happened, damaging a boat to save it from future seizure, taking the life of a boy to spare his parents' grief years later, and restoring a wall to protect an inheritance that would only be claimed long after. From a human perspective, these decisions seem impossible. We act in the present, guessing about the future. Khidr acts in the present, knowing the future. Some scholars say this is not time travel in the science fiction sense, but a higher perception of time, as if one stood on a mountaintop and could see the entire winding river at once. from its source to its mouth. Past, present, and future are separate for us, but for someone with ilm ladunni, they are a single tapestry. Many Sufi masters have described Khidr as a higher-level human, not in a biological sense, but in the expansion of consciousness. In their view, most humans are locked in the zahir, the outer dimension of reality, seeing only the immediate moment. Khidr moves freely between zahir, the seen, and batin, the unseen, navigating realities invisible to ordinary perception. This ability allows him to be in different places at moments so close together, it defies physical explanation. He appears and disappears without warning, and he can communicate truths directly to the heart of the listener, bypassing spoken language. Folklore and Sufi hagiographies are filled with accounts of Khidr's sudden appearances. A traveler lost in the desert meets a man in green who leads him to water, only to vanish without leaving footprints. A fisherman sees a stranger board his boat mid-sea, then finds himself safely at shore with no sign of the man. Such stories have led many to think of Khidr as moving through different layers of existence, what modern language might call dimensions. In the spiritual worldview, these are not science-fictional parallel universes, but the multiple layers of God's creation, invisible to most of us. For the mystic, Khidr is a sign that God's help can arrive in forms you don't recognize. Not all knowledge is acquired through books or teachers, and sometimes, to reach truth, you must walk with someone who acts beyond your understanding. Rumi wrote about him, "Khidr's strange acts are like the ocean, on the surface a storm, in the depths, pearls." Ibn Arabi called Khidr the master of the solitary path, the guide for those who walk alone without a living human teacher. Now, having seen who Khidr is and what he represents, we can turn to the Qur'anic account of his meeting with Musa, a story of patience, perception, and the limits of human understanding. The Prophet Musa felt a stirring in his soul. There was a servant of God somewhere in the world who had been given a kind of knowledge different from his own. Determined to learn from him, Musa set out with his young attendant, carrying a salted fish in a basket as a sign. God told him that where the fish came to life and vanished into the water, there he would find this servant. They traveled until they reached the meeting point of two seas. There, as they rested, the fish miraculously revived and slipped into the waves. The moment passed unnoticed, and they continued until hunger made them stop. Only then did the boy recall the strange event. They turned back, retracing their steps. At the shore, they found him, a man in a green cloak, calm as the sea itself. This was Khidr. Musa greeted him and asked, "May I follow you so that you may teach me from what you have been taught?" Khidr replied, "You will not be able to bear with me. How can you be patient with what you do not understand?" "I will be patient, God willing," Musa insisted. "I will not disobey you." Khidr accepted, with the condition that Musa must not question him until Khidr explained his actions. They boarded a boat offered freely by poor fishermen. As they sailed, Khidr removed a plank from the hull, letting water seep in. Musa was shocked. "Have you damaged it to drown its people? You have done a terrible thing." Khidr reminded him, "Did I not say you would not be able to bear with me?" Musa apologized, blaming forgetfulness. Walking on, they met a young boy. Without a word, Khidr took his life. Musa could not stay silent. "Have you killed an innocent soul without right? You have done a dreadful thing." Khidr said, "Did I not tell you that you could not be patient?" Musa apologized again, promising this would be his last objection. They reached a town whose people refused them hospitality. As they were leaving, Khidr stopped to repair a crumbling wall. Musa said, "If you wished, you could have taken payment for that work." Khidr stopped walking. "This is the parting between me and you, but I will tell you the meaning of what you could not bear. The boat belonged to poor fishermen. A tyrant was seizing every sound vessel. Damaging it saved them from losing it. The boy would grow into a source of grief and disbelief for his faithful parents. God willed to replace him with a more righteous child. Beneath the wall was a treasure for 2 orphans. Their father was righteous, and God willed the treasure remain hidden until they were grown. In each act, what looked like harm was mercy. What looked like loss was protection. The difference between Musa and Khidr was not moral. Both served God, but perceptual. Musa acted within the present moment. Khidr acted from a vantage where past, present, and future were all visible at once. For us, the lesson is clear. Trust that God's wisdom encompasses what you cannot yet see.